Well, hey, this is exciting. You got a new guitar. This is an acoustic electric guitar. We're going to look at it today. And this is a nice, good beginner guitar. It's a Washburn. And I just want to go ahead and show it to you. You can see you've got some electronic adjusters here. The Marcus Berry system that Washburn makes. You got a place for a 9-volt battery and a plug in here. So you can plug this right on into an amp and you can be ready to roll. Otherwise, it's like a normal acoustic guitar with your bridge and your steel strings. You've got your nut, your frets, and don't want to just go into all the parts of the guitar right now, but just want to introduce this instrument to you and make sure that you kind of have the basics set up. If you want to play this guitar plugged in, what you'll need to do is to reach down here into the battery case. There's a little thing you can pull, and this will pop right out. And Washburn provides a 9-volt. It's actually covered with plastic sealing right now. You'll have to go ahead and take that plastic off of it. But then once you get that off, you'll notice that on the 9-volt, one side of it, the negative side, is larger than the positive side. And that corresponds to the slots here that are set up. So you need to make sure that the larger size negative fits in, slides in like that. And then when you put it in, make sure that that clip points down, and that'll clip right back in for you. And that activates your electronics system, the pickups that are usually installed down here underneath the bridge to pick up the sound, and will allow you both to adjust a digital tuner up here and to adjust your volume and things. If that battery goes bad, then you're going to have problems when you plug in and play. It'll probably sound distorted, or it may cut out on you, or you'll notice your electronics aren't properly working. So it does need a battery if you're plugging in. And we do have some extra batteries that you always want to have kind of ready on the roll. I had some laying around here, and they're just out of my arm's reach right now. But yeah, so that's the way that that goes. And with your electronics, the big center knob is your volume. You're going to press this in and hold it for the tuner to come up. And we'll look at that in another session. Then you have just different controls for your bass, middle, treble. So there's the different sort of regions of sound that your guitar is going to make, the different frequencies that it projects on, and then the feeling of presence, whether you want it really bright or more muffled, as though it were kind of backed away a little bit, not quite as harsh sounding. So another tool that you want to have is a pick, usually on a steel string guitar. And we got a couple of different pick options here today. I'm using these Tortex Dunlop. The green is the heaviest one, and then it kind of goes down in a color code. Yellow is a little bit lighter. Orange is going to be even more flexible, and then finally the lightest one is red. And when you pluck with this, you make your chord, and you can kind of, you can see how that light one makes a very kind of sound. When you go to the heavy one on the contrast, it makes a much more abrupt, usually louder. So yeah, we'll do another session on how to tune your guitar. This is reasonably well in tune. These strings have come on it, so they've been on it for a little while. But we do have some other strings, and it is important that you bear in mind what kind of strings you put on your guitar and try to be consistent with it. Probably the nicest set that we have here that fits this guitar are the Custom Light Elixir acoustic strings. And they're called the Nano Web. So these are going to have a little bit of a smooth feel and a nice sound. You'll notice that it has two numbers on here. On the one side it says 11, on the other side it says 52. And those will correspond to the size of the strings in inches. 0.011, if you can see that. Let's see if I can get to my camera right. 0.011 is going to be the smallest string, and then 0.052 the largest, and that just goes down from the high E to the low E, and that's what these numbers correspond to, the 11 and the 52. So whenever you get replacement strings for your acoustic, make sure that you try to get the same size, the Custom Light 1152s. Another brand that we also got here, the D'Addario, a little bit less expensive, but also a very fine string. And you'll notice there's the 11 to 52, sometimes marked off with a decimal. So just get that same custom light 1152s, and you'll be able to be consistent then, because the heavier the gauge, that's what we call the different sizes, the heavier the gauge, the more strain it's going to put on your guitar. The lighter the gauge, the less strain. You want to have a consistent strain pulling on that. So I also have a strap here. This is a custom-made strap, and being custom-made, it's just made of some really interesting leather. So you'll need to be willing to take a knife and cut a slot. You've got these little tiny holes that you have to cut a slot in order to fit them on. I have this fit on here because I have a slot cut for here, and then here on the other side. But as you work with your guitar, you'll decide how you want it. And maybe some guys might be like, I don't like this extra tag, I want to get rid of it. Other people like to leave it because sometimes someone much taller wants to wear that, or maybe you'll grow taller. But the way that this is set, you can see it kind of, even as I sit here, it kind of hangs right there on me. And that's a good place, that's a good way for a guitar to hang. It's easiest to play the guitar when it will hang like this and not too low. So yeah, that's just some of the basics here with this guitar. Some other tools that we got when we replace those strings, you have a string winder. And you put that string winder up here on the tuning pegs, and we'll show you how this works. And it really helps you to wind those tuning pegs, to loosen it and to tighten it. And we even have here a little curved pin remover, and that's for when you've loosened up a string. You want to come down underneath each one of these pins and be able to stick that underneath. You stick that curved part there underneath, and then you can gently pop that pin out and remove the ball and the string at the bottom there. That's just a really helpful tool for removing that. We'll also talk more about extra digital tuners. Now, this guitar has one built in, but in the event that you have a battery problem, it's nice to have a backup. The Snark tuners are really nice, and the way that they'll work is you'll just clip that right up here on a headstock, and you're good to go. You're all set to go with that. Those are some of the basics with your new guitar. Just some of the parts of it. This is called the bridge. This piece here is sometimes called the saddle, or the saddle, and then rather this piece is called the bridge. These are the pins. You got your strings going from lowest up to highest. This is called your sound hole. This is called the top of the guitar. You can think of it as the front or the top. And then these, of course, are called the sides. This, of course, is called the back. This whole thing is called the neck. And you can see there's the W for washburn. The neck has a back part where your thumb's going to always go, and then a front part, a separate piece of wood, that's called your fretboard. And then these little metal pieces going across are called frets. And importantly for the guitarist, you've got these little dots along the side, and also dots you can see that are given here. Those are marker dots. The double dots you can see both when you're looking down, when you're playing from the side, and also you can see it from the front looking right in. The double dot marks where the octave is. So whenever you're playing a note, then you have an octave higher. And then the other dots will correspond to other intervals and things. Up here you've got the nut over which the strings pass, and so they vibrate between that bridge and the nut. And then once it passes over that piece, then you've got your tuning pegs and your tuners here. So that's really one whole unit designed together where you tune that to get tightening, gets it higher, loosening, of course, makes it lower. And you have to learn through experience which way to turn them, to tighten them. If I take this string here and I go down, go down and up. If I take the low one, down. Now, what you'll learn as we go into tuning at another session is how different ways to tune. You can use your electronics, you can use acoustics, you can do it with another instrument. Sometimes in your tuning, you need to learn how to tune the instrument to other instruments because they may be out of tune, But instruments that are all equally out of tune, you know, they might be, say, a half step flat or a half step sharp. You can tune your guitar to match them and play along wonderfully, even though it's out of tune with perfect pitch. So that's just something that you kind of have to get used to and play with. But the guitar is great. It works just fine. We were just playing around with it a little bit. Up a pick and start playing. Lots of things we can learn how to do, and as we go forward and just go lesson upon lesson, we're going to learn a lot of fun things. If you'll be patient, I promise you that you can go much further than where I'm going to start to lead you. That's one of the beautiful things about teaching, is that you can share all of what you've learned with somebody else, and then they can help someone else go even further. And that's what I hope I can do for you. Help you go as far as I've gone, and then hand you off to someone else who can teach you more. So I am sure that you'll enjoy your new guitar, and you'll learn it, and this will be something that you can play for many, many years to come. One more thing. This guitar also should always be very carefully placed, and one of the things that you can place it on is a guitar stand. Now, this is not necessarily the best stand ever. What's neat about it is that it has a little piece here that you can clip in, you can push in, and then you can close up, so that it creates a little bit of a streamlined space. And then when you open it back out, you press that in, open it back out, it locks. And then that guitar can be stood up just so. And as you set that guitar up, you want to make sure that it's nice and steady as you set it up. Make sure that nobody bumps it, because it's often easy for someone to come by and just knock your guitar. So the guitar stand is important, and you can kind of get a peek at it here. If I can kind of show you where it's at. There it is, standing there nice and steady. So I'll show you one more thing that's coming along with your guitar, and that is your guitar case. So, sorry. All right, so the guitar case here is, it's got the company name on there. It's a hard shell case, but it's got these little locking clips, and it's got, if you count them, it's got quite a few on here, maybe more than normal. You've got one on the back, another one down kind of underneath, and then 1, 2, 3. So it actually has 5 clasps that you have to tighten up. Now, that's good. It makes it a nice sturdy thing. When you tighten a clasp, you got to put it up here and then push it down. So each one of these clasps up and then down. And to open, you push it up and it comes open like that. Inside your guitar case, you'll see that it's got, you know, a generic felt kind of a lining with some padding that's intended to help. And here, there is a box. And inside this box, you're going to have some things in here. You're going to have an Allen wrench, and that Allen wrench is a tool that a guitar technician would use to adjust the neck. My recommendation is never adjust your neck without a professional help. Just my tip to you, I never do mine. You've got some absorbent things here, but very importantly, something you don't want to lose is going to be this key. So this little tiny key is the key to your guitar case. And I never have had cause to ever lock my guitar, but if you do, this is the key. You'll want to put some kind of a string through it and tie it around your neck or something. But those are just a few of the things. In all the other items, your strings, your extra guitar picks, your tuner, your string winders, your extra tuners, all that stuff can go inside this box and then can be kind of closed up there. My recommendation is that you always take the strap off when you put it in. It is a little bit of a fussy strap, but I always curl my strap up and put it in underneath up on the top. That way it's not causing any pressure with anything, and it can just stay folded and rolled up there underneath the head stock of your guitar. All right. When you close it, you're going to find that there's this little string here. You always want to make sure that don't let that fold out. You always want that to fold in so that it closes up inside your guitar case. And then you want to close all those latches and you'll be set and good to go. A lot of guitarists like to add different fun stickers on the outside, kind of like people add on their car. So maybe there's a band or some ministry or something that you're really into and you want to start adding stickers on here. That's a pretty common thing. A lot of guitarists do that. If there's a special place you go and you play, you'll want to be able to make those kind of choices for yourself. All right. Well, that's our first introduction, and I'll be making more of these. What's nice about a video is this. If I said something that was too fast, you can stop and you can go back and listen again. If there's questions you have, you can always refer to something said at a certain time, and then you can just comment and ask a question. So I hope this will be a helpful tool, a way for you to learn and to enjoy, and we'll get into some of the basics, remembering how to tune the instrument. How do you put on strings? I'll be using my guitar over here for our times together here, but I'm looking forward to this, and it's just a way that we can continue to stay engaged, and that I can pass along to you what was taught to me, which is just the joy of making music. It's like anything else in the world. It just takes practice, lots of time, but the thing about music that's so great is that once you learn an instrument, you can enjoy it in a way that some other kinds of things you learn, you don't enjoy as much. Music gives back this pleasure and enjoyment as you do it. So, hey, I hope this finds you well, and we'll see you in the next one.